What's going on, my friends? Dan here, DD's Peach Shop. We're doing metalwork today. I love metalwork. I just absolutely love it. I'm not very good at it, but I love it. And what are you gonna do? So where we left it, the motor was in, we got it running. There's a lot left to do driveline wise. Hook up the transmission to the motor. We got to measure for a drive shaft and shocks and cotter pins and all that. But you know what? She's a car. It's together. I feel good about it. I thought I was done with rust repair. These fenders, when I had them in the basement, I was like, yeah, they got a little bit of filler in them, but you look right back here, I mean, that's all metal. I'm like, how bad could they be? Well, they bad. They real bad. They're, not much there. So, that one's actually full of, like, aluminum foil and filler. So we're going to go ahead and change these buckets on today's video, and we're going to finish up the core support, well, because it's been chopped. This one came with the Nomad. I don't know if it's from the Nomad originally, but it's weird. Everybody and their dog cuts here and here to remove the motor, because it's easier to do that than trying to unbolt it all, because this is obviously very bare bones, but they're bolted along there, and they're shimmed. And then along here, there's a panel that joins, and down there, and then there's a plate that runs across here. I don't know if that's joined in or not, to be honest with you, but it's quite a lot of work, and this is, well, this one's all drilled out and stuff. Typically, these are riveted together, so it's quite an ordeal. The entire core support has to come out, so no one did that back in the day. Just torch, motor out, and forget to put it back in. I've heard horror stories, guys always say without that, the fenders pull apart and it'll actually split a radiator and stuff like that. Meh. I think some car I have that it's missing. Danny's car maybe, or something like that. I've welded a brace in a few of them, so I haven't run into that problem yet, but if it ain't broke, why break it? So anyways, the funny part is, we have a good upper bar, but down here is all bunged up, because this was on the other chassis. It had a front steer set up. So we'll cut that out. I think I have another one we'll match up. But we're going to start, I think, with doing the fender caps. Pretty, I think, straightforward job. I mean, when you look at these, I start looking at them, they're not even straight or nothing compared to this. Now, the problem I have, so this panel I just got, this one I bought a while ago. And this one here, I believe it came from Cars Inc. Probably some Chinese knockoff, but you can just see how it's folded over, and it's just, the fit and finish isn't that great. It doesn't actually really fit the contour of the fender all that well. It's got big gaps. So I will have to, obviously, like I've marked here, I'll trim. And then in here I've marked 2 bits there and there. What I'll probably do is just grind out this lip there so there's nothing on the bottom, so this can wrap under. I think that's what's happening, is this gets too narrow to fit all the way back. And then obviously once it's on there, we can trace. I don't know how much this I'll use. Trace across, cut it out, weld it in. Pretty simple. This one is a genuine, look at that, Dan Chuck. I've never had Dan Chuck. Made in America panel. I bought off a guy. I've had this for about a year, kicking around. It was just, I forgot what I did. I bought leaf springs or something like that off a guy, and he happened to have some panels. He's like, do you want this, do you want that, do you want this? So I bought everything. When there's tri-fi parts out there, I just buy them. Anyways, you can see on the bottom how much nicer this stamping is. It's not all, you know, bent and whatnot. This one, if you just kind of push on it, it fits like the whole way around, much nicer. So I have a feeling this panel will go a little bit better, but what are you going to do? Anywho, and on this one I actually think I have my organizational skills. I had another piece with it. I remember what I did with it. Oh, there we go. So this, I should have bought one for that side, but at least I can kind of, well, I'll just make one. But that, I think it's going to go in like that, because it's all rotten in the top there. So there we go. Couple of pieces, couple of panels. We'll get the camera set up. We'll start cutting this. I'm going to start on this one because it's the worst. I think the panel's the worst, and I might as well screw it up. But let's be honest, with these Nomads, if I don't like the way this turns out, for only $5,000 American, you can buy the proper trim that goes there, down the side, and into the door. Only $5,000. Can you believe that? Supply and demand. And also this fender's got a pile of holes in it, so we'll plug them up, weld them all up. But I mean, we're down to bare metal, a lot of stuff. Metal up there, it's all rusting, so I think this would be a pretty decent panel to start with. I'm happy with it. Yeah. Alright, let's get the camera set up, start cutting. Alright, meow. So, I think, like what I said we're going to do, this will be a bit of a, maybe a step-by-step on this side as I'm learning, and a little bit of lapsy-laps on that side after I've still learning. Step one, we're going to trim this edge off because I'm not going to use that part. That's all solid, and I feel if we weld it on this kind of hard line right there in the fold, be less body work, and we'll try and keep it down in these kind of edges there for the body work as well. And obviously we're going to have a piece the whole way around, which is a bit of a pain. Now this panel is stepped down, so I guess it's meant to go under if you want and then weld it. So I'm not too sure what I want to do, if I want to cut that out and butt weld it, because in my experience, when you have a fold like that, it really makes it strong. It has a good shape to it. And when you take that out, and I take this side out, I think it'll be a lot more flexy, which isn't the end of the world, other than we're now going to contour it to what? The fender, I guess. We're going to hope it's good. So we'll get that cut. We'll cut the around there, like I said, just so it thins it out a little bit. It's full of just filler and junk. Get it, and then we can start marking the siding where we're going to butcher this thing. Alright, let's see if it fits any better. Some again, I think the problem is it's just so thick, full of junk, the other panel won't fit on it. So I want to keep the top rolled edge as much as I can. Oh man. Ooh. That's just full of fiberglass. But then just for the distance, just to keep everything kind of proportionate. The car looks good, the fenders look good. Whether it's right or wrong, I don't know. But it doesn't dry your eye that, oh yeah, it's way too long on one side. Here, somewhere. show you real quick. This is what was jammed in there. Cigarette packs, bunch of filler, and then up there it's got some sort of metal which has obviously been screwed in, sandwiched, and loaded with a filler on the top. It's got this fold right there, which is making things a little tight, but this I'm going to assume kind of lines up together, which it's close-ish, and then that same thing will just follow into this. I think that's not a bad spot to be. I mean, we're not talking about this thing being 4 inches longer if we screw it up. So I'm thinking something like that. I'll trace everything around here so that way I'll know where the panel was. And then, so let's say we have a trace mark across there. We'll just cut this part out, which is getting that all bunged up. We'll stack them, see what it looks. If that looks good, then we'll start trimming away. I'll probably grind this all down to bare metal. The front bit, it's working with good stuff. You can actually see this is, like, it was quite thick with filler and stuff, especially in there. So, I don't know. And honestly, it didn't look that bad to an untrained eye at night through the internet. Alright. Good tracing and cutting. See you. Get her where we want. Just gonna line up here. Thinking something like that's pretty close. So now we know, don't cut past that line, because we don't have metal past that line. I'm hoping I'll just zip this bucket out real quick, and it'll be, we'll be home free. Okay, a little bit of filler in there. Not to compare what this car's used to, though. So now, let's see what works. That looks, step back from it. I think I'm happy with it. Now I gotta decide if I want to cut that out and butt weld it. Probably is the professional way to do it. Alright, we got lots of metal there. Yeah. Let's do that. So I'll slice that off. Get her on there, start tracing again, and start cleaning it up. So that still fits okay. So I think what I'm going to do now, I'm going to grind up. I'm going to keep this line. I'm going to get all this metal nice clean, well, within a couple inches from it. So you can still use this and this piece to perfectly align where I was. We're never going to lose our true North Star. So we're loaded up with filler at the front. Actually back here wasn't too bad. Down the sides, there was none. So I'm going to call that a win. Start tracing this out. Body filler. Where this sucker is going to end up, I'm thinking. Ugh. I just need a little bit of fitment, but not too bad. And I should be able to now kind of weld it, and as I cut it out, I'm cutting this out, it will just kind of come out the bottom. It will be an all nice solid metal. This fender looks good on the inside. Inner fender looks really nice. I mean, great for undercoating. And then this half moon piece is wore out where the headlight bucket will go. So we'll have to make a piece like that down the road, but that's basically a piece that'll be folded, and I'll put it in the stretcher shrinker until I make a little curve, weld it in. A couple of these quick fasteners, and we're set. Okay, we got the welder set up. It is Saturday night. We go live every Saturday. Well, most Saturdays, some Saturdays. So I'd like to get this finished, or at least tacked into place. And hopefully I'll see you guys there, or at very least next week. You might as well be in there. What else you got going on Saturday night? So what are we going to do here? I think I'm going to weld it where I think it looks the best, right on top of the fender. And then I'll slit around and I'll push it down and kind of work it with a hammer, because this line here and this line here kind of have to go in a certain spot. So if I start at the bottom, these will be lined up but overlapped. Close your eyes. Close them again. Oh, that was a bad one. Bad one. So now, this will go into the fender. You'll follow the lines on both sides. And we can push it down. So now it'll zip up the side, around the back, and down the side. Push it down, or push it in, weld it, and then we can just worry about the bottoms down there eventually. Not bad. We're really good up top, so this is obviously a real part of concern. That's what you're going to notice. A little gappy on that side, unfortunately. I had it cut as I pushed it down and it folded in to keep this contour, brought the metal in just a little bit. So be it. It's double wide. It's not terrible. Down there we got a little bit of metal work to do in there. This actually worked out really well. I mean, just the way the panel is, but we can just kind of fill that with some weld. And then grind it off. And fix it with filler. Yeah. Unfortunately, I think it's as far as I'm going to get tonight. I'm going to clean all this off real quick. I'm going to grind it tonight, then I can charge my batteries tomorrow, and we'll get back to it. But I mean, realistically, the top line's up, the bottom is in line with the stamp moldings. What else can you do? I think it's all right. Okay, going on that side next. They always look goofy, I think, when you have a brand new piece of metal on this. It looks like, it's like, what is this? But yeah, it's pretty good. Happy with it. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Next day. So we got the bucket on yesterday. We just kind of tacked it in. So now what I'm going to do is, I got it pretty close. A little bit of hammer and dolly work underneath would be good. This dolly has a bit of a crown to it, so if we put it up like that, it'll be good. Make her as flat as we can. So we'll buzz that in. A little bit of work to do just to join these together, make it look nice. I thought I had just a core support, just the U, but I couldn't find it. And I was thinking, you know what I did on something? I chopped it up and I put this on both sides. I think it might be the Black 57, so you could put a radiator on either side. So I have this one, which is, mediocre. Again, hasn't been cut, so if it hasn't been cut, they're good to keep. I was looking at it. I was like, oh, I can just use this, but it's supposed to go that way, so it's a V8 one. I'm looking at it again. I'm like, well, this thing's been butchered. It was a 6-cylinder one, and this has been cut off. You can see it's been ugly welded on. So I'm like, well, do I fix this one and switch it, which is a bunch of screwing around welding, or do I sacrifice the bottom U and make the other one work? This section down there, and I'm thinking that's probably the easiest to do, and then this just looks nice as is. That's my thoughts anyways. So we'll get the camera set up. I'll hammer and dolly this. We'll then weld it in solid. Pretty simple. Try and keep the heat out of it as much as possible. Work your way around, do what we gotta do, fill this little gap in, and yeah, grind it down. And we'll carry on to the next one. What can I say? Everything in this car is ×2, including the price tag. Okay, so we got a few spots, just a couple of high spots. We'll kind of get them close, and we can buzz them all in. Just saves a little bit, I guess, body work and whatnot down the road. We got a little high spot right there too. You guys, I'm sure, all watch Make It Custom. That guy's awesome. I love that guy, old Jap Hands. He's got like fancy hammers and dollies. Mine's Amazon stuff. That guy like Bodyworks hammers, but maybe one day I'll convince him to let me come out there and apprentice for him. I've asked. Okay, just to kind of show you, I'm taking a break while it cools down. I got still my hand on it, so it's not that bad. But bazillion little tacks. Where I had it too gappy, I just kind of ugly got in a piece of TIG filler rod. And I'm working my way around here, so I got that close. That'll need to be, you know, smoothed out with the grinder. And here we got a bit of a gap we got to deal with, but we'll let that cool down. On this side, this is all full of filler in there, but they're pretty soft curves, so I don't think it's a big deal. We'll get it welded in, then we'll just sculpt it out of filler a little bit, just where the two transitions are. And standard Tri-5 has a headlight bucket that'll actually cover right up around there. The trim piece I'm talking goes all the way around there and covers most of it, so it's not a huge issue. And then the Nomads have, I said, that eyebrow on top of the standard stuff, so not that it's an excuse not to do a good job, but no one's really going to know. And I think it's coming out good. I'm happy with it, considering these were, like I said, full of cigarette papers and tinfoil and Bondo, and ultimately if you would have primered them, they'd be fine. Alright, let it cool off, we'll get back to welding. Okay, so we got it all dialed together. I'll let it cool off a little bit. Yeah. Let's grind her up, see how good it looks. Or bad. We don't judge here. There we have it. So I got a little bit of a low spot just kind of between there where I could fill it with weld and re-go, or you know what, that's what body filler's for. Side turned out real nice. I'm happy down here. This turned out good. There's a little bit of screwing around just on the edges. I mean, I don't know how crazy I'm gonna do with metal versus just put a little bit of filler in there. Like I said, it's all gonna be hidden by the trim ring. Okay, let's do it again. Now I'm hoping this other panel maybe fit a little better. It'd be sweet. Sure fit better when I just, like I said, when I lapped it over it. So, China versus US. Let's see who the winner is. I have a feeling I know. So I think what I'm going to do is get this set and then kind of start tacking it in. Then maybe when it's cooling off, we'll start working on this, because this, we can put the heat to it, get her all done, come back, weld a little more, maybe have a little supper break, and finish off. I should be able to finish off tonight, but it's all about my level of motivation. So I think step one, I'll just zip it in the two spots, like, you know, right there, and then where that little fold is, because I think this one's the same thing. Oh yeah, it's got good metal back there. It's got good metal, which we should be okay. Well, it might be close. I think it'll be okay. We'll risk it, so we'll do that, and then I'll cut out this, the lip, just so it can fit as close as possible. We'll trace it, and then I'll just leave a small amount. On the other side, I had, I trimmed out just a little, and then when it was on, trying to get that section out that was like that big was quite a struggle. So I'll probably, you know, cut it just maybe an inch or so away from where I'm going to cut on that fold, make my life a little easier. More of the same. A little bit of whatever that is, bolted together, loaded with filler. This one actually wasn't as bad. It looked like the curve wasn't quite as rotten, but it was still pretty bad. Anyway, let me just take a seat here. So we got, everything is pretty lined up. Now the problem we run into, just like all these panels, the factory is such a crisp line, then we run into this kind of more folded over. But we got her in there, close-ish. This will need some trimming down there. But, so those are lined up, and if you see, we're right on that mark. Pretty much. So I think what I'll do, I'll make my tacks there and there, so those are in line with the headlight. I did the other one. Once that's there, then we'll start zip cutting all of this out, push the panel back in, which will then flatten it out, weld her in. Good God, it looks ugly without it, eh? Yeah, that's the plan. So we'll sit back at the camera, and I think I'll get it in there, I'll get it buzzed in so it's solid, and then we'll let it cool right down. While we're letting it cool down, I brought in my fender stand. We'll take out the core support, and we'll start working on that, kind of back and forth. Because once it's in, it's not going anywhere. It's irrelevant if the fender kind of hangs down or does any of those things. I can still weld, go back to work on something else, and weld, and grind, and all sorts of good stuff. Working through supper for you guys tonight. Alright, let's get after it. Hopefully heater noise isn't too annoying, but it's cold in here. So, got this, it's a little warm to the touch. I'll put a little bit of heat to it, but who'd have thought? The Dan Chuck show quality panel that I got from a guy's shed was a better fit. That fits like much nicer on the other side, but whatever. A little wide there. Again, it's, you do have to push the panel down in, and a little gappy down there, but I did all that. Otherwise, it's good. So it's not, again, I can touch it, it's not that hot, but we'll let it cool off. Meantime, we'll pull this out, put it over there, and start chopping up that other brace. Should be not too difficult. This will just kind of hang down, you know, big deal. It'll fall off and break, whatever. I tell you, this sedan delivery, she keeps giving. She keeps giving for this poor Nomad. So this is obviously a piece we're going to cut, eyeball it there and there, and we'll go from there. Gentle. They actually didn't do too bad of a job. They got some sort of torch cut in there, but it looks like this is cut with a hacksaw or a zip disc or something. It's a nice straight cut. Not all torch cut out. So what I'm probably going to do is cut most of the weld that's holding this bracket in, or brace we're going to call it. So then get this like 75% cut out. I'll put the new piece in, I'll get it all tacked into place, and I'll finish cutting this out just so it holds the shape. I assume what they do is probably weld this in, then cut it out. Probably not the end of the world. I mean, it's not like this thing's going to go wing, but while it's here, we might as well do it proper. So, let's get her cut out. piece I cut out. I did a little trimming to it. We're getting close. Oops, that way? Yeah. So it's not bad. Gonna take a little sliver out of the top, kind of try and match a few angles here, and we'll get our tacks in place. Woo-wee, she done. So I welded and I gave it a quick grind. I still want to do something on the inside there, maybe pretty up a little bit, but that's good enough for now. I think once I'm done this, on the next video, we're going to paint the whole... Oh, I'm pointing at myself, eh? That's embarrassing. I think we're going to paint the whole underhood. So we'll do... I'm just going to do black. Black on the inside of the fenders, the inner fenders, finish the firewall, do all that. We'll do this at the same time, get it properly bolted on, get the fenders fit proper. I think that'll be the next plan of attack. So during that, we'll get that cleaned up a little better. Whereas this is now absolutely cool to the touch, so we should be able to kind of fill in all the little welds and grind her up and finish it. So I've worked through supper. I'm starving now. Danny came out to remind me it's supper, but I have to get this done. Because at this point now, there's half hour left to work, and if I go inside, I'm not going to finish this tonight. So let's get after it. Hooey! Caps on. I didn't quite finish this one. I actually ran out of welding gas, and my other tank is also empty. I have a backup, so this doesn't happen. And it happened. So close. I got just a bit of a gap I got to fill in there. Actually, I got to kind of hammer and dolly this one in and the fender out just a little and get in there. But not bad. I gotta say, feels like the grinder doesn't turn as fast when supper is waiting for it, you know what I mean? So I could do a bit better job grinding, but I feel I gotta come back anyway and finish some welds. And you know, there's a little spot you don't like right in there. Might just put a few more welds in there and flatten her out and all that. But this panel fit better on this side and worse in here than that one. And they both felt about the same on the top. So I don't know. I think I got this one for 25 bucks or something like that, so it's cheap, and I think those are like 80. And I'm sure this is well over 100 if you were to buy a name brand one brand new. But just all together, this isn't quite as satisfying because it was loaded full of filler and kind of looked the same. Now it just has metal there instead of fiberglass. But that's done. So I get welding gas tomorrow after work, and then I think, like I said, we're gonna jam together. Get the firewall done, inner fenders done. get all painted. I do have to weld all these little holes, so that'll be a tedious thing to do, but it's all metal, so I mean, put a piece of copper behind it and weld her up, shape her up. Then we can start fitting everything together. I do try and find a hood. I know I have one in the backyard, but we got a couple of Great Danes, and one of them likes to climb on hoods. So hopefully it's not all daned up, but we'll see. Thank you very much for watching. As always, leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. I love reading every single one of them and trying to respond to as many as I can. And we'll see you in the next video, where, as you guessed, we're probably working on Nomad stuff.